What is up, everybody? Hopefully, you guys are tuned in once again. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Mark, and this is
Mo from OTB Clubhouse.
Yo, everybody. If you're brand new to our channel, please, for the love of God, subscribe. Seriously, subscribe. We're trying to build our following, but today is our 20th episode, Mo. Can you believe that, dude? That means if we did it, what, an episode a week? It hasn't been 5 months since we've been doing this, has it?
Yeah, no, I think it's been longer.
Has it? Oh, wow. Okay. So, well, it's our 20th episode, everyone. And because of that, we want to celebrate and we wanted to bring a special guest. Y'all may know him, but don't worry. It's going to be drama. No drama. I'm sorry. No drama. No drama today. Okay. Not at all. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for JT. What up?
Hey, JT.
What's going on, gentlemen? Thank you so much for the invite.
No, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I was about to say drama filled. No, I meant like no drama.
Right.
No drama today. We're going to talk about accounting stuff and etc.
All right.
We got a few things on the dock, JT. And the way it works is I'm going to touch on a few topics here. And then we're going to get your opinion on it as well. You know, by all means, be as transparent as you want to be.
All right.
That's what we're here for. But the first thing I want to cover today real quick. But first of all, you know what? Hey, Mo, man, how was your week?
Man, it's been amazing. Honestly, I needed the weekend. Last week was hectic. Like trading in that environment was hard. This week made it up for last month, but it was hard. Sometimes you need the weekend to just chill.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, JT? How was your weekend?
Not bad, man. I cannot complain. Really excited. So, last week was the first time that I was able to, do my live stream show, but also have it simulcast on a local FM radio station here in the city of St. Louis. So it's a new thing for Pocket Watching with JT, expanding the brand beyond just YouTube. I'm also doing it on regular radio stations too. So I'm excited.
So exactly. This is breaking news, man. Congratulations. Like, 'cause I remember you and I talked about that, and you were talking about possibly getting a radio station, and you made it. So congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you. So happy for you. So yeah, we got a few things on the docket here real quick before we open up for questions here on the floor. The first thing, we're gonna do something we haven't done in a long time: the breaking news.
This is Channels Television's breaking news.
All right. Don't get triggered, y'all. This is going to be a little political real quick. Obviously, today we had the CPI. Mo's going to cover the CPI. But before we do that, I got triggered at work today. I did. I'm not going to lie. So you guys know, like, look, some people think I'm a Republican. I'm not. Some people think I'm a Democrat. I'm not. I have no political affiliation. I like policies. That's what I like. Mm-hmm. But this happened today, and I did get triggered. So let's go play this clip real quick.
He persisted and persisted to push this bill over the finish line. He has restored dignity, respect, and a sense of action back to the Oval Office. So thank you, President Biden, for your incredible leadership. Americans are seeing what it looks like to have a president and a Congress that's focused on delivering results to make their lives better. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your tremendous work. On to future victories, everybody.
So that is what triggered me today at work.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why. First of all, today was possibly the worst day to actually have a celebration of the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, we covered this, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Mo? We covered the Inflation Reduction Act. I went through it, and I was like, there's nothing in there. It was literally the Green New Deal that was just repackaged with the wording Inflation Reduction Act. It's suckers to buy into this bill, and it bothered me so much because I actually read through the bills, right? So here we are today. He was celebrating as inflation went to 8.3%. Yeah, remains near a 40-year high. Yet they're sitting here and they're celebrating. Gas is up 25%, furniture's up 12%, airfare 33%, eggs 39%, chicken 16%. And I knew chicken went up. I was wondering about that because I'll be buying chicken and I was like, I swear these prices are higher. I knew it. Milk is definitely 17%. And I knew, I felt that. I felt that. Lunch meat, 18%. Felt that one too. I don't know if you guys have a Publix where you're at, but it used to be $8 a pound. Now it's like $13. Flour, 23%. Oranges, 14%. Rice 13%, bread 16%, soup 18%. So I don't know why they're sitting here and bragging. And then we looked at the S&P 500. Where did I go down to today? I'm pretty sure Nasdaq closed at -5%. And the S&P, let me pull that up real quick. The S&P dropped. I gotta put my glasses on. Nasdaq dropped 5%. The Dow dropped 3.94%, and the S&P dropped 4%. And here, the president and his administration are bragging about how they passed the Inflation Reduction Act and how people are seeing it and feeling it. And I don't know about y'all, but I am not. And I was so frustrated because look, my career prior to this was in the intelligence career field. My job is facts, the truth. All right. And I remember working underneath Trump, and love him or hate him, yes, there was a lot of lying and inflating of information that he was presenting there. But I remember it didn't matter. Anytime he lied, news were reported immediately.
Right. Yeah.
The minute he says something that was off the wall, they would pick it up.
Right.
And in today's speech, it was nothing but lies. And if you don't believe me, I encourage you to look into everything. One of the things I'm going to touch on, I'm just going to touch on one because I don't have time to go on my little rant and cover every single lie that was in this speech. But one of the things is that they sat there, because I do believe in climate control and climate change. I believe in that. So obviously I'm not a Republican like everyone thinks. There's obviously something going on with this environment. There's heat waves left and right. In Europe, it's hotter than it's ever been. So there's obviously something that's going on. But they had a nerve to sit there and say that we are the leader in clean energy and green energy. But apparently they forgot to actually look this up. We are not the leaders in anything green energy currently.
Right.
At all. Okay. August reported Sweden, Costa Rica, Scotland, Iceland, and Germany are on the top 5. If you look at the top 10, US is still not on there. But you know who is? China. China, which used to be one of the major polluters of this earth, is on the top 10. So to sit there and just lie and lie and lie is aggravating me, because on a macro and a micro level, the economy is not doing well. It is not. We're shooting out money. Obviously, look, let's just be real. When it came to the finances of America, when the pandemic happened, we synthetically propped up the environment, right? Our economy. Right. We synthetically propped it up, which I understand. We had PPP loans that were going out. We had stimulus checks that were coming out. We were getting tax breaks left and right. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff that was happening. But when the Biden administration came in, they didn't help the situation. We involved ourselves in Ukraine. We're still spending trillions of dollars. I'm sorry, probably not trillions, billions of dollars. I need to look up the actual amount. But I know it's been billions and billions of dollars that we've been giving them. And now we're also inserting us in the China and Taiwan issue, which last month they passed. What was it, Mo? 1.1 was
We're around 1.3 billion for arming Taiwan in case China attacks.
Yeah. And then if you look at the Inflation Reduction Act bill, there's nothing there that shows that you're saving money. Nothing whatsoever. We're spending more money. And then we're doing the loan forgiveness, the student loan forgiveness loan, like all this stuff. There's nothing here that's showing that we're trying to actually reduce inflation in the recession. So what's your thoughts on that?
But
let's go first.
Yeah. When I take a look at it, obviously it's a whole game that they're playing with words, right? As if words don't matter. Exactly what you were saying before. They put the title of Inflation Reduction Act on this bill. But if you actually take a look at it, it really has nothing to do about reducing inflation. If the government really wanted to reduce inflation, it would actually cut back on its spending. It would cut back on government handouts. It would cut back on being able to flood the economy with money where people are going to be spending this now government money on a limited amount of goods and services. That's what drives up the price. When you have so much money chasing a limited amount of goods and services, naturally the market's going to respond by raising the price. That's how it works. But this act, this Inflation Reduction Act, actually looks as if it's increasing government spending. It's increasing the flow of cash that is going into the hands of consumers. So naturally, the market is going to continue to do what it's been doing. It's going to raise its prices. So the people who hear the term Inflation Reduction Act, they're going to think, okay, great, that's what it is. But unlike you, they don't read the bill, so they have no idea what it's actually doing other than what the left is going to highlight. They're going to highlight the giveaways. They're going to highlight talking about how they're going to control the price of insulin. They're going to make sure that the price of insulin is not more than something like $35 a month. Things like that. Like, how does that reduce inflation? Like, I have no idea how is that supposed to help with inflation. It doesn't. It just it's a package given to their base, just labeled with something that makes everyone who hears it makes it sound good. But if you actually open up the package and see what's in it, it's the same old junk that they've been trying to pass off for a long time.
Yes, and that's what's so frustrating. Just seeing that the bragging, the all this, like it's driving me nuts because I don't understand how Americans are not seeing this. Like, I'm not trying to insult Americans, but yo, come on! Like, this is just blatant lies, blatant manipulative tactics to get votes. Because again, you guys remember, elections coming up soon.
Yep.
So a lot of stuff is going to be said that is not true. They want to feed their base, like you were saying, which is just driving me nuts because I'm not seeing how we're going to get out of this situation on a macro and micro level. I still see the stock market possibly going lower.
Oh, yeah.
We saw how it reacted today. I mean, my God, today was, it was rough. Yeah. It was rough. So do you want to touch on that on the CPI there real quick, Mo?
Yeah. So like, it's very key what both of them mentioned. And I think it would take someone 5 to 10 minutes to do their own research and study to find out what's actually happening.
Right.
Just simple thing that I'd say, how would you reduce inflation by printing more money? It makes no sense. And JT pointed out, you worded an inflation act which increases inflation reduction. So people get fooled by it. And a lot of lazy people will just read that, be like, okay, we're working on it. What people aren't understanding is the more we print the money, they're screwing over Fed because the Fed's going to have to tighten even more. Yep. They're doing 95 billion, which I don't even think that's enough because of the student loan forgiveness plan. A short example, me and Mark covered. Biden came up with EV credit, right? So they gave $75 credit for all these companies. Guess what Ford did? Ford increased the price of their car by $8,500. So like, if you really look at it, this isn't an inflation plan. This is a subsidy plan for these corporations to make big money because that's who will help with the funding when it comes down to it. So we're not really giving you our opinion. We're pointing out facts. All of us are talking about what the facts are. We're not saying this political party is correct or wrong. It's factual that when Trump was wrong, the media was like, okay, you're wrong. And then you would see a back and forth. We're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing stuff getting pushed by bots on Twitter and everything around, and you need to be more careful than ever. This same thing applies to the market. We've got the biggest traders out there. Tom Lee, one of the top traders. Jim Cramer, not the top one, but very popular, right? We talk about popular votes. They're telling you that Q4 was going to be the biggest quarter, market's going to pump, and here we are. We've got 95 billion in quantitative tightening happening this month. They are saying that they will increase the interest rate by 100 basis points next month. So what they're doing here is they're hitting you in two parts. They're hitting your pocket by increasing the cost of borrowing because the interest rate's going up. Right. I don't think that's that bad because you have a choice. You know, I want to get this new car. I can't really afford it, or I can. But when they start doing quantitative tightening, what they're doing is they're taking the liquidity out of the market, which means the buyers will disappear, which means people that are wanting to retire in the next 3 to 5 years will take a big hit. A lot of people have now used margin and they've borrowed against their stocks and options from retirement. They're going to lose a lot of value. Companies like MSTR, they were buying Bitcoin at 69,000 and they were averaging down. I think they get margin called at $22,000 or something 20. Imagine that happening. The amount of money people will lose. I don't think people understand. People are still buying the dip. So just so you guys understand, there's algos placed in the market and they buy based on moving averages. One of the key moving averages that most people talk about is 200 moving averages. Just buy over 200, it's good. Another one is 50 moving average. Yesterday, a lot of hedge funds and funds were buying over 50, and you can see that through dark pool. They lost big money today because we were selling off today. Bonds were massively dropping yesterday, and you saw the results. So Goldman Sachs came in yesterday and said that CPI will be higher, and no one paid attention. So here we are. You got to watch this stuff. The reason why is Goldman Sachs cannot lie to you, because if they do, they will lose reliability. If they're wrong a day after, people will remember. 3 months ago, what they were saying that recession won't happen doesn't matter. But if people see yesterday that they're saying CPI is going up and today it actually goes down, people will actually start doubting the reliability. So this is the stuff you want to watch. As an investor, what I'm saying is just be smart about your spending and invest in the right company. We've talked about this multiple times. This isn't the time to buy weekly calls in options, and this isn't the time to buy companies that might not exist in the next 5 years. I don't know if you guys know what's happening with China. What US is doing against China is going to impact the chips a lot, right? So if Taiwan and China get into big trouble, we are going to see increase in prices of chips. Another thing what a lot of people don't know is the raw material for chips is actually made in Ukraine. If there's something that happens there, we're literally going to be in a big issue. And then there is the rail. I don't know if you saw, Mark or JT, there was a strike news coming for railroads, and UPS and FedEx are actually going on strike.
Oh, no, I did not know.
That happened, we are in for a black swan event, and that's what we want people to get ready. We want to make sure we're sticking as close as we can to facts rather than telling you do this or do that, you're going to make $1 million. You want to go defensive here, right? You want to go defensive. See, do I have the right emergency fund? Am I listening to the right people? Which is why we brought JT today, because he's actually got the knowledge which most traders need to identify how they can save on their taxes or how they can benefit with the benefits the government have. But that's kind of what my overall approach with what's happening. I would really recommend people not to pick political parties, but pick factual information and see how it benefits them or how it goes against them.
Yes, and I agree 100% with what you said there, because you're right. I understand that when Trump was in office, the country's very divisive, right? Because people just didn't like him as a person, the things that he was saying. But if you take away all of that, like the character, the Trumpism, if you take that away and look at the policies, they were a little bit better than what we have now. And it's just going to get worse. One of the ways to fight inflation and the recession, unfortunately, is that people have to lose jobs. And nobody wants to be honest about it. They have to lose their jobs. And it's unfortunate. If you look at these top companies, regardless of what the stock is doing, the stock could go up tomorrow. Like today we had a massive drop. Tomorrow the stock could go up. But what do you see? Apple laying off people. I think Microsoft laid off people. Tesla laid off people. Amazon laid off people. This is a sign.
Right.
This is a sign. So you have to prepare yourself. And again, this is why we brought JT on here, because he is a certified financial planner, right?
Right.
CPA.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on this whole situation for people who are, because like, again, look, all three of us here, are very lucky. We are fortunate in a situation that we are not in dire of money. We're not living paycheck to paycheck. At least I'm not anymore. I used to, but I'm definitely not anymore. But I know how it feels. I know how it feels.
Hey, I've been there.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. And right now, this is scary. This is scary. And that's why I get so frustrated when I see the politicians and everyone lying, just lying to middle America, just the middle class is lying to them straight up, acting like everything is fine, while you should really be preparing for something that's going to happen soon. I hope we are wrong. Trust me. Right. I really hope we're wrong. And I know part of YouTube is you have to say, the sexy stuff to lie to do, to get the views, but we're not selling anything here. We're literally trying to tell you the truth.
Right.
So JT, what do you think, man? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So when we see these huge companies starting to reduce their workforce, they're doing it for one reason. They know in the coming days and months that the demand for the product and services that they currently provide is going to go down. See, they're planning for the fact that there's not going to be as many people buying their goods and services. So instead of having people sit around doing nothing and getting paid an hour, 20, 50, $30 an hour, whatever it is, to sit around and do nothing, they'd rather go ahead and shorten their workforce now rather than later. So that is a telltale sign for you, the people at home who are, maybe unaware of what's going on. Money is going to tighten up. That's why I am a big believer in what I refer to as an order of operations when it comes to personal finance. You cannot go all into the stock market or all in the real estate or all into crypto, any type of investment, without first having an emergency savings fund. Because that emergency savings fund is going to be the buffer between you and bad times. I have not moved any money that I had invested in the market or elsewhere. I've actually gone deeper into investing, but I can live for a year with no new money coming in and not skip a beat in my lifestyle. That's how much cash I have saved up. Now, there's a couple of things in there. I'm self-employed, so I got to have a little bit more than what the average person would be. Normally, it's 3 to 6 months of your monthly bills to have saved up. But I'm saying that because even in the worst of times, I have things in order. I have an emergency savings fund. I've paid down debt. The only debt that I have is my mortgage, and I make my mortgage payment in 1 day of work. So it doesn't take me a whole lot of time to make that mortgage payment. Now, what should you be doing? If you don't have an emergency savings fund right now, I have no idea what you're doing. You need to
You're
make
behind.
sure that you need to make sure you have enough cash on hand. And when I say cash on hand, I literally mean cash. I'm talking about money that's either in a money market account, in a high yielding savings account, worst case scenario, a CD, but not money that's actually invested in the market or invested in anything where principal could be lost, because you have to prepare yourself. Worst case scenario, what do you do when no money is coming in the door and your investment is down? Your investment may be down 15, 20, 30%. If you liquidate now, you are locking in that loss. And nobody wants to do that. You're literally locking in that loss, and you won't be able to ride the wave back up. So you don't want to lock in losses. So it's best to just make sure that you have the cash off to the side and make sure you're paying down debt. Because guess what, people? When the economy is doing bad and your investment portfolio is down 20, 15%, your debt didn't go anywhere. Right? Stock market goes down, your debt is still where it's at, and it's still climbing. So you got to make sure that you're saving and you're paying down debt. Then you open up a spot for investing. But if you are a professional trader, if you're actually, this is how you make your money by trading, then now you have to realize, hey, I've got to put myself in a situation where other businesses are what they're looking at. They understand that the environment is changing. Things that was working 6 months ago may not work now. And you have to be a real business-minded person and realize you have to pivot. You can't be a person that says, well, this was working in 2021 and this was working in late 2022. I'm doing the same exact things that I was doing then, but it's not working now. Well, the environment changed. And if you can't pivot, if you can't understand the new realities that the market's going through, maybe you need to reassess this whole business that you're in trading, because it's not for when everything goes good, right? I wish I could be the business owner that does really good when everything is going good, and I don't know what it. You got to be prepared for when stuff goes bad. That's the mark of a real businessman, businesswoman, entrepreneur. You can survive in any environment. And in fact, when things go into bad, when everything is horrible, that's when the great businessmen and women excel, because you see opportunity while everybody else is running in fear. So got to get your financial house in order so you can take advantage of the fear. But if you're just one of the group that's running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you may reassess what you're doing with your life.
Yes, and I don't think this is the time as well to take a lot of risk. I think you should be taking risk off. Even as a trader, again, Mo is proficient what he's doing. Again, Mo is like at the 10%, right? Or less than 10%, actually. But you should not be taking these massive risks right now.
And what Mark, amazing, Mark. Go ahead. I'll add.
No, go ahead. You're all good, man.
I'm telling you this right now. Like, I see a lot of shit where people are saying cash is garbage, cash is this. Listen to JT. I am telling you, when you don't have cash, that's when you're going to start selling your stocks and your investments on losses. And then no one's going to be there around telling you, oh, you only take the loss when you sell. Well, yeah, you just sold it and you took a loss. So just make sure there's a reason why people tell you that cash is garbage, because they want you. I don't know any realtor right now that's saying don't buy. Just wait. I don't. Right?
Thank you. I get flack all the time when I say that, and I get like real estate agents. They're being my comments and stuff like that, and I'm like, listen, there a small percentage of realtors will say, you know what, this is not a buyer's market yet. Everything's always you better do now, because if you wait later, it's like, no, that is not the case. You always have to ask yourself this question. The person who's giving me this advice, what do they have as skin in the game? What is their upside? Listen, I have no upside. I am a bit of an a-hole. I just like telling people when people are wrong. I've been doing it since I was a child, and I kind of enjoy doing it. But that's it. I'm not selling you anything. If you take $5,000 extra dollars that you have and you invested in crypto and real estate and the stock market, or pay down debt, it makes me absolutely no difference. I'm just telling you, based on certain situations, it might be best to either have that money in an emergency savings fund, or if your emergency savings fund is saved up, pay down debt. And then you think of the cash flow that you'll free up when you pay off that debt that you can actually use to invest. But when people start talking that talk, cash is trash, most of the time, they want your cash. Most of the time, they're trying to take the cash from your pocket, put it in their pocket, and sell you on some hype about, oh, don't worry about it. Do everything on credit, and you have all this leverage. But I'm telling you, the people who live by leverage in good times normally die by leverage in bad times, because they have no balance.
Absolutely. And this is the thing what JT just said, right? These people who are saying cash is garbage and blah blah blah, before you even listen to them, just go on the Instagram or the link tree or whatever, and I guarantee you they're selling a course, or they're selling you something. Real estate, trading, stock market. I guarantee you they're selling you.
Mark, something. what was our first episode? Was it not that you should not be trading if you don't have money? That was our first episode.
Yep, our very first episode.
Telling people to not trade with the money that you need, because that's the dumbest thing you can do. Because in trading, it's all about patience. And if you need money, you're not going to have patience. It's that simple. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's just how our emotions go in when we don't have money. So back to this. No realtor is saying it's a bad market. No financial advisor is talking about what's a good time or bad time. It's like, oh, buy the dip. How have you been buying the dip for the last 6 months? Have you not run out of money? I don't understand that part. Like, what did you start with, Mark? 100K? Are you not out of money? Like, how were you buying? Like, were you buying $100 every month? None of that shit makes sense. And that's how most people are getting exposed, in my opinion. And we come here, talk about this every week, and we're not trying to sell you anything. And it's amazing that JT's saying the same shit, because when I see, cash is garbage, and I listened to the billionaire Patrick, he said he's holding on $200 million in cash because he's waiting for the right opportunity to buy shit company.
Great deals. Yeah, great deals are going to come.
Yeah.
For the man or woman or whatever they decided to identify themselves as. For the great person who has the cash. I remember I graduated from undergrad in 2006. So I had about 2 years before the Great Recession kicked off. I still remember the great real estate deals, the great deals in the market that anybody who actually had a little bit of cash, I'm not talking about multiples of millions of dollars. I'm talking about a person who had maybe a couple $100,000 or maybe $60,000 or $80,000. The deals that they could have had if they had the cash. I didn't have the cash. I had the know-how, but I didn't have the cash. And I swore to myself, if another event like that ever happened again, I would be properly prepared to take advantage of it. One piece though, I personally do dollar cost averaging. So every week I'm buying into the market. Now remember, I have enough cash on hand to survive for a whole year. I have enough cash on hand as far as cash flow monthly within my budget. I live off of anywhere between 50 to 65% of my monthly income, meaning the rest of it is free to either invest in my personal businesses, is where a lot of it goes to, reinvesting in my personal businesses, but also investing in the market. So that's how I've been buying a little every week for the past 2 years, and I can continue to do it because my personal cash flow from my different businesses stuff really haven't changed enough to come to the point where my budget's off. But it all starts with a budget. If you have the proper budget in place, you can do certain things that the average person just won't be able to do. But it comes down to having patience.
Yeah.
I think some people's ambitions to become wildly successful, to become wildly wealthy, while to a degree that's healthy, the desire first has to be there, but there has to be some sort of logical behavior of understanding that you cannot start a business on your last dime. You cannot invest or trade on your last dime. Why? Because you will be operating out of desperation. Whenever I enter into a deal or I'm representing a client in a situation, I try to figure out who here has desperation in their eyes. The person with desperation in their eyes is going to be the loser in this deal. That's the person who's going to want the deal to go through no matter what. So even though the price keeps going up, or even though the negotiation goes kind of out of their favor, the desperation in their eyes tell me they're going to lose in the long run because they're not willing to walk away from the table and just say, you know what? It's not working out for me. I'm going to reset. You got to be willing to reset if you want the best deal possible.
100%. And just in case people are watching this, they're like, wait a second, you guys do this whole thing called the lunchbox end of your episode where you talk about what you're buying and blah, blah, blah. So remember, Mo's a trader, so he's agnostic. He'll trade whatever up, down the market. It doesn't matter to him. He trades what he sees. Me, I'm more on the investing side when it comes to this show, contrary to what my name says, trading with a dummy. That's just me trying to become a trader, but I'm investor first. Right. And yeah, when you guys see us here on the show, I go over things that I buy mostly every week, right? Mm-hmm. But I also have repeatedly said, I'm scaling in, meaning 1 share here, 2 shares here with spare money that I have and that I can afford to lose. I have not gone in crazy. Like I haven't went and spent thousands of dollars on a specific stock or index or ETF or anything like that. Right. I've just been buying, creating my positions, buying a couple shares here, a couple shares there. When there's a massive drop like today, things drop significantly. I bought 1 share of QQQ. I bought 5 shares of SPLG. I bought VIG. I think that's what it was. Yeah, VIG is a new position I created. And I bought about 3 shares of Shopify or so. I don't know. I have it in my Discord. But I buy a little bit here and there with spare cash I have sitting on the side because I'm waiting until we literally hit the bottom. When's the bottom? I don't know. Yeah, I'd rather wait instead of buying the dip, which I was doing at the beginning of this year. I was buying a dip. No, I was buying the downtrend, and it was killing my portfolio. And it took me 3 months to realize that when I stopped. And then I think I started buying it in June or so when it was kind of the bottom. But we'll see what happens from here. But yeah, let's get to some questions, JT. So here you go. There's P Smooth. What's up, brother, man? He always supports my channel, man. I appreciate it, man. That guy has been rocking with me since day one. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so can you guys or Jason discuss money market account versus high yield savings?
Yeah, I mean, so these are just 2 different type of cash accounts, right? So you've got, regular checking account, you have a savings account, and a money market account is just like a cash account that's going to get you a higher interest rate than normally you'd get. They're somewhat comparable. I mean, most places that I go, the money market account rates are somewhat the same as what the CD rates are, but with the CD, your money is locked up based on a certain amount of time, and with the money market account, it's not locked up. They'll give you a debit card to it. Normally, I have never allowed them to give me a debit card to any of my money market accounts because that's not what the cash is in there for. But you have free access to go in and out of the money market account. So normally, on average, if you're dealing with a bigger bank, the money market account is going to get you a better interest rate than the savings account. But at smaller institutions, you might see a situation where you'll see a savings account actually have a higher interest rate than a money market account. But that's only because you're dealing with a very small institution with less overhead than the big boys, and they're trying to be more competitive.
All right, that was a good question. And also, this real quick. So, do you recommend any not? I know you can't technically we're not sponsoring anybody, but have you seen any high yield savings account that you think people should maybe check out?
I mean, generally, when you're dealing with banks, I like to have a personal relationship with any banks that I deal with. The highest yielding savings accounts and stuff like that are going to be these internet banks. These banks that don't really have any real branches, are very are limited local branches. They're mostly online institutions, and you'll see very high interest rates. But my thing is, I like to have a personal relationship with my bank. I want to be able to walk in. I want them to know who I am. Because if there is a situation where I do need a loan, I don't want to have to reintroduce myself. And I actually like a physical place to go and get my cash rather than having to make a request for the cash. And then they tell me, oh, you can go here and then go get it. To me, it's a little bit more work than what I would want to do. So normally I just tell clients, just make sure you're building a relationship with either a local credit union or a local bank. And I mean, when you put money in these accounts, it's not to make money. I want to be clear. I don't want to confuse people. My emergency savings account is not something that I'm looking like, oh, I'm making 1 point something. That's not the money making. My investments is for making money. My emergency savings account is literally my own. I treat it like my own personal bank. So when ish happens, I go to my personal bank and I take the money out and I literally pay myself back. Let's say my child broke their arm a year or so ago, and there was medical bills and stuff like that. I took the money from my emergency savings account so it didn't disturb my monthly budget. I took the money out, I paid for it, and I literally, with the cash flow from my budget, paid it back to keep it at a certain level. So don't stress yourself out trying to find how you can make the most money from your emergency savings account, because that's not what it's for. It's there to save your ass when something bad happens. Your investments, that's what makes you money. And also your investment in yourself. What type of advanced job training are you working on? Are you trying to improve your job skills? Are you going to night school? Are you doing things responsible to make yourself more competitive in the marketplace? Because for a vast majority of people, your greatest money-making asset is you. You need to work on yourself.
I'm glad you said that, because we actually spoke about that one of the episodes. Remember, Mo, you were saying instead of paying for these trading courses or whatever, go and invest in yourself by getting a certificate in IT or something somewhere else.
So you guys are the perfect profile for dollar cost averaging. You've got enough money so you can save. That's good. What I'm talking about, they're telling people that are 18, 19, 20-year-old that are in student debt, and they're saying take money out. I would rather use that money and learn some sort of skill that will create income for myself, right? I understand that you can save for 30 years and it's going to be at 10% compound. You're going to be a millionaire, but these guys need money now. They don't need it 30 years. So with the income generating money, they can put that into investment and that index fund or whatever. But if you're telling someone who's in student debt doesn't have an emergency fund to start taking money out, and now their investment is down 40-50% because someone told them to buy a dip, and every time you ask them, just keep buying the dip, you'll be fine.
Right.
It only goes up. So
think about what Mo was saying. The second Mo started talking, I imagined in my head somebody who's between 18 to 25 years old. They're working a minimum wage job. They don't have an emergency savings fund. They probably don't have a whole lot of debt, maybe a student loan debt, but maybe they got a little debt with a car note or something like that, maybe a little bit on a credit card. This is not the person that needs to be dollar cost averaging and buying the dip right now. Yeah. You're not in that position. Once again, I go back to order of operations. Maybe I need to explain what I'm talking about, because it's been some time since many of us was in math class. But in math, You do what's called order of operation. When you have a complex math problem, talking about you've got some division, you've got some addition, you've got multiplication, you got all of this stuff in one math problem. Well, if you do those calculations out of order, you're going to get the answer wrong. And when it comes to the order of operations in math, you first got to look, is anything in parentheses? If something's in parentheses, I'm going there first. That's the first calculation I'm going to do. Then after that, you're okay, is anything multiplication or division? I'm going to do that second. Then last, if anything is addition or subtraction, I'm going to do that. If you do it in that order, you'll actually get this very complex mathematical problem correct. It's the same thing with personal finance. Do you have an emergency savings fund? That's check number one. If you check that off, okay, great. Now, what about your debt? Do you have a lot of debt? Is your debt out of control? Maybe you need to pay that down. Okay, then boom. Then it's, okay, maybe I can invest. But if I'm making minimum wage, would I be better served in dollar cost averaging into the dip, or create opportunity for myself by investing in myself, going to trade school, getting some sort of certification in coding that maybe even free online with Google or something like that, or going to junior college so that I'm not making minimum wage, I'm making a middle class type of income, then I can dollar cost average with this better. I mean, if I start dollar cost averaging at minimum wage at 18, okay, great. But if I spend that time by the time I'm 21, 22, and I'm making $80,000 to $100,000 a year, I'm better off, even though I delayed it by a couple of years. I'm going to be better off in the long run because I'm able to put so much more money in. And when the market dips, like right now, the market dipped today, right? The market dipped. You know how much that matters to me? Nothing. I'm a financial advisor. It means absolutely nothing to me personally because the money that I have in the market, I do not need for the next 30 to 40 years. The money that I need to use in the short term, I got. It's not an issue. The money that's going to be used in the next 30, 40 years, that's the money that dipped. I don't care about that money because in 30 or 40 years, I can't tell you what the market's going to be tomorrow, a month from now, or a year from now. But I can almost guarantee, put my life on the line to say in 30 to 40 years, it's going to be higher than where it is today. In 30, 40 years, it will be higher. Now, will it be higher than it was 5 years from 30, 40 years ago? I have no idea. But it's going to be higher than it is today. So I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And unfortunately, right now, when you see the market dip like this, it does create a sense of FOMO, right? So you feel like you're potentially missing out. But it's just like what JT said. You will have opportunities within that 30-year period to be able to buy stuff at a discounted price again.
Yes.
So if you don't have it right now, really don't force yourself. By all means, please don't get a credit card and take a cash advance to buy shares and stuff. Please don't do that. I actually know somebody who did that before June. Please don't do that. Please do not grab a credit card and take all your cash advance or whatever, and then throw it in the stock market. It's very dangerous. I will even give you guys an example of something that I did, which I made a huge mistake. I got a check for some money that was kind of owed to me, but not. I knew it was going to take about a year for them to ask it back. It was, I think, about $8,000. I took it and I put it in the stock market last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not there anymore. Okay, it's severely discounted. So I had to actually make that up to give that money back. But my whole concept was like, oh, this is a great opportunity. I can put this money in the market. It's going to grow because everything's going up, and that did not happen. So please do not put yourself in a situation like that. And again, I am in a different financial situation now than I was 2 years ago. My life has drastically changed. And I still make mistakes. And the reason why I'm telling you guys is because I've made mistakes like this before. And it's not a good feeling because that could have really backfired on me significantly. I got lucky. Literally, I got lucky. Yeah. Because again,
I've heard stories of people pulling money out of their homes. Oh, God. Right? Doing refis and pulling money out of their homes to try to take advantage of the market. I'm telling you, they didn't teach us that in school. Like at no point in any of the classes that I took to become a certified financial planner, do they teach us, oh, okay, when the market's down, you want to try to get in no matter what. So even if you have to advise your clients to take out a second mortgage or to pull out money from some sort of refi or whatever, no, you don't risk those type of assets to take advantage of the fact that the market's down just because you don't have the cash. If you don't have the cash, you don't have the cash. Make the money. Maybe you should have been driving for Uber to make a little extra money that you can put in the market, but still put aside money for taxes because you still have to pay taxes. So yeah, it's all about the order of operations. If you do it in order, you'll be fine. One of the biggest issues is you have to stop trying to compete with people on social media for your lifestyle. When you're trying to make it look like everything's perfect, that you live a VIP lifestyle, that you only rock the highest dollar type of clothes, and you go to the fanciest restaurants, and you're doing all these things to impress people who you don't know on the internet. Now that can be a punch in the gut. But if you just accept who you are and create a budget for yourself based on the reality of the money that you actually have, you'll be fine. But the question is, do you know who you are? A lot of people have identity issues. They don't know who they are. They have been creating this persona of a boss chick, of Mr. CEO, of everything is perfect and I'm a hustle. And when they look in the mirror, they really have no idea who they are. They have to live the lie, and living that lie is destroying them financially. Just live in your reality of, hey, I make $45,000 a year. My goal is to one day make $100,000 a year, but I'm going to live on the budget of a guy or a girl who makes $45,000 a year. Nothing's wrong with that. What's the race to become a multimillionaire, or to at least live a lifestyle of a multimillionaire that you're not yet?
It's not cool, JT. It's not cool.
JT, in your years of experience, what do you think one of the biggest expense people have that they don't realize that it's there?
Oh man, I have to say, from a Black community experience, I can tell you we buy cars at a way higher dollar price than we should. That's one thing that is extremely ridiculous, because we feel for whatever reason the right car gives us the right social status, and that right social status gives us the self-value that we think we should have for ourselves. So cars is ridiculous. A lot of people are paying mortgage prices for car notes. That's absolutely ridiculous. One of the subtle things that people don't pay attention to, though, eating out. Yeah, I mean, just restaurant and fast food. Like, people have no idea how much money they are wasting on not meal planning and buying groceries and stuff like that. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dollars in some cases, and almost thousands of dollars in other cases, of just simply not preparing meals, or at least buying groceries because I just want to go to Chipotle today, or I'm just going to go here, I'm going to go there. When you add it all up, that comes to hundreds of dollars a month, thousands of dollars a year of something that you could easily shift over, but don't want
to. Yeah. So let's get. I was trying to stay drama free here, but I'm gonna pull up a question here real quick. It's by P Smooth as well, because you had mentioned that people live this fake life. This is something that I mentioned before. That some of these gurus, you will see them and they will point you to their Forbes or Yahoo Finance, or what's another one, Entrepreneur Magazine. These people can literally pay to be in those magazines, and a lot of times not even by the magazine itself. It's a contributor who either has a connection with somebody else or an agency, and they get paid to write their article and then they put it on there. Be careful. You have to do research. Scroll all the way down typically in those articles, and you will see if it's written by Forbes or by a contributor. Right. Or look on top. Sometimes on top, I've noticed now they've done that. There's a very prominent one within the Black community that did this recently, was bragging about how he was featured on, oh man, what magazine was it? It was one of those prestigious magazines. I think Business Insider, I think it was. And the very first, I mean, he took the article out in what was in the magazine and posted it all over social media. But if you actually find the article, the first thing it says is like, this article is not written by Business Insider. This is a sponsored article. So you have to be careful. Don't fall for this, man. Just do a simple Google search for some of these people. And if they're certified, like hey, JT, if they look you up, you're certified, right? They can look you up and they can get all the information that they need.
There's three main places you can go to check and see if I'm just blowing smoke or I actually did the work. You can go to CFP.net, the Certified Financial Planner Board. They got my info. You can go to the Internal Revenue Service. They got my info. You can go to the SEC. They have my info. All three has done background checks on me, checked my education, but had to pass exams. This is real stuff. And the Business Insider thing is so hilarious because I recently had an article in Business Insider that I wrote for Business Insider, their personal finance section. And, someone once asked me, said, JT, did you pay to get that article in Business Insider? I was like, no, Business Insider paid me to write the article. That's the difference between really knowing your stuff and being a fake guru. Business Insider sent me a check for writing the article. I didn't send them a dime to put my name on their website.
Yeah, it's definitely very unfortunate. And here, I got my buddy Tim, who he's been on the show obviously before. I'll give him this. Go ahead.
All right, let me say it. Tim is great and Marcus is hot trash.
There. You happy, Tim? You got what you wanted.
Put that up.
Get a shirt.
He's been on the show before. Mo, do you have any other questions for JT?
No, I think we're good. I think people have a good understanding what we're talking about.
Yes. You know what? I do have one more thing I do want to touch on because tax season is coming up.
Yeah.
And JT, obviously, you deal with taxes and stuff like that. For a person who is in the middle class or below, I know a lot of people tend to use like TurboTax or TaxSlayer or H&R Block. Mm-hmm. Do you recommend that they go that route, or do you suggest that they find themselves a tax accountant, even though it may cost them a little bit? The tax accountant might be able to get them better tax breaks. Because I see so many people used to be so upset about all these millionaires taking tax advantages. They're like, oh, this person didn't take taxes and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, they're not doing anything illegal. They just have great tax accountants and they know what they're doing with their money and how to have their money work for them and how to take those benefits that are out there. So what's your recommendation when it comes to that? Because I know tax season is coming up. So
yeah, here's the main thing that I talk about. It's not so much about tax preparation. Tax preparation is taking a look at what financial transactions that you did in the past year. We're looking in the rearview mirror and we're taking that information and we're plugging it onto forms. There's not a lot of work that goes on as far as strategy when you do tax preparation. What's important is having a relationship with an accountant who can help you with tax planning. See, tax planning is the thing that the wealthy do to be able to reduce their tax liability. And if you're a person who has more than just a W-2, right? If you just have a W-2, then yeah, it's a very simple situation. You'll be able to plug that information into one of the various websites where you can plug the information in and you can get a tax return prepared at a very, very small price. But do you have any tax planning that's going on? Tax planning is important because it's not about trying to look at, okay, what's the least amount of tax I can pay right now? It's about how am I incorporating my tax situation in my overall investment situation? One quick thing to kind of give an illustration. You can set up, if you don't have a 401k on your job, or maybe you're self-employed and you don't feel like doing a whole lot of paperwork, you can invest for your retirement in an IRA. But an IRA can come in two different forms. It can be a traditional IRA where you can put in $6,000 and get a tax deduction this year. Or you can get a Roth IRA where you put $6,000 in, but you get no tax deduction. Now, the tax deduction or the tax advantage comes when you pull the money out and it grows, it comes back to you tax-free. So what are we doing here? Are we planning for the short term? Or are we planning for the long term? Would you rather have a tax deduction right now of $6,000? And if we calculate and see how much is that really saving you this year, it's probably not that much. Or is it better for us to put that money into a Roth? Let that Roth grow and compound. And by the time you're 59 and a half and you have an account that's $300,000 or $1.2 million, and you're able to pull that money out tax-free in retirement, where would you rather be? See, that's tax planning. You can't get that with a software. I would suggest that you contact a certified public accountant or a certified financial planner in your area and talk about tax planning and create a long-lasting relationship that'll start now, but go through to your retirement.
Awesome. Thank you. And real quick, JT, weren't you the one who said to get yourself an LLC, even if you don't have a business, that way you could write off a bunch of stuff?
No, I think that was the other guy. That was the other guy.
Sorry.
That wasn't me.
That was the other guy. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. That was the other guy. Sorry. Y'all don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. A lot of people are getting caught up with the PPP loans. That's what they were doing. I was in a group that literally advertised that, was like, just get yourself an LLC. It's super cheap. You don't have to have a business, and you could write off a bunch of stuff. Don't do that, y'all. Don't do that. But JT, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Mo, do you have anything else for him at all?
Or I think we covered everything.
All right.
Great
Thank
show,
you guys.
gentlemen. Thank you so much, man.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah. And everyone who's watching, please subscribe, y'all. Subscribe. Come on, just click the button. That's all you gotta do. Share the video. Share the video. Spread the word. We're really trying to grow here, and I really appreciate it. Yeah. And again, JT, thank you for coming on. Hopefully, we can have you on again for some more advice when it comes to finances and etc. So until next week, everybody, peace out.